to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with
Mr. Bon Harris.
And Daniel Meyer.
Nice. Of?
Nitzer.
And you know why I do that? Because, like, bands always do it better than I will.
Yeah.
So I like to hear how the band says their name.
There you go. Ongoing controversy with our name.
There you go.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, because I bet a lot of people mispronounce it, say all kinds of weird shit, right?
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, we just made up a name and we wanted it to sound vaguely European, so we cut up a load of letters and words and kept rearranging them until something came up that we liked.
I love that.
Nitzer was it. And, you know, we started saying Nitzer, but a lot of people in the US say Nitzer.
Well,
You know, but we don't mind.
funny
However you
thing
wanna say
is I knew it was Nitzer, but when it's like, okay, Nitzer's ready for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I hope I am saying it right.
There's no, like you say, there's no rules. Just be yourself.
Exactly,
So,
100%.
Yeah.
So, is this your first time at Danny Wimmer Festival?
Yes, I believe it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't remember seeing you at one, and man, what an iconic one to start with. Welcome to Rockville. You're
Yeah, thanks, man.
here at the Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah.
So, does that mean anything to somebody that comes from outside the United States?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Daytona's pretty iconic. I used to follow motor racing and motorcycle racing when I was a kid, so there was a famous British rider called Barry Sheen who had a massive accident here testing a Suzuki. It was part of a documentary I was watching when I was a kid. So yeah, you know, I'm well familiar with Daytona, and it's quite an occasion to be sitting in the middle of it
And driving on it
we
too,
drove
right?
around it. Indeed, we did. Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty exciting when you first get it. Yeah.
Right, like you're fanboying out on the racetrack.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Forget the bands or anything else. It's the racetrack.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all about that.
It makes it more special, that's for sure.
Yeah, so, like, I my kids will ask me, oh, you excited to go to this festival? And I'm like, I'm excited to drive on the speedway.
There you go. There you go.
Like, that's the highlight of the festival right there.
Yeah.
But now the highlight is you guys playing.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, for the listeners that aren't familiar with your music, how you as the artist would describe your music to them. Not necessarily boxing you into a genre, because I hate that, you know.
I've always kind of described it as minimalistic electric punk rock in a lot of ways. I mean,
I like that.
You know, that's kind of how we started. It was a little harder-edged electronic music. We're always into minimalism, you know. There's not a lot of solos or anything like that. It's just kind of straight ahead. Dance music, very much, you know, very much up for people dancing.
Yeah, so driving on the way here today, one of the people that was with me, it was funny. Yesterday, there was something wrong with the app, and it was showing today's schedule on Thursday, and so she thought she missed your set, and she was so bummed.
I can understand that.
And I was like, you know, well, I don't know. I think they performed today.
Yeah.
And then she's so excited. She's like, yeah, because they're really like, they're the originators of industrial music. That's how she put you guys.
Maybe one of them. There's quite a few bands that were involved
I know, right?
in launching it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a good compliment.
Who were your influences?
You know, early days, a lot of sort of post-punk sort of stuff. Killing Joke, Bauhaus, very early days, Adam and the Ants, and then moving into electronic music, you know, Kraftwerk, DAF, A bunch of sort of new wave stuff out of Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I come from the 80s.
Yeah.
And I remember when Kraftwerk first came out.
Yeah.
So it was wild when you mentioned that, because not many people remember that nowadays.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there, I love that nowadays you can kind of bend genres and put genres together.
Yeah.
Because it's like, one of the things somebody said to me, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them, because you wouldn't normally see them at a festival like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, maybe you would, because there's plenty of us like you that want to see it.
Yeah.
It's not like the old days. Funny story, you mentioned Adam and the Ants.
Yeah.
I was a total thrash metalhead in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And one of my best friends, he was a closet Adam and the Ants fan.
Yeah.
Okay? Because back then you had the gatekeepers. You couldn't like anything else.
Oh,
okay?
Of course. Yeah, yeah.
And I found his album one time, Kings of the Wild Frontier.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, what the hell is this?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, he's like, and then he played it for me. Still to this day, one of my favorite all-time ever albums.
Yeah, I loved it. Two
Genius.
drummers, all the rhythm stuff.
The
It's fantastic.
jungle sound to it, it was genius.
Yeah.
Then I went back and got into Dirk Wears White Socks.
Yeah.
How many people know about that album?
And it's a great album.
Oh,
It really
classic.
Yeah.
Blows my mind. He's touring now too nowadays.
Yeah.
It's amazing too, because nowadays everybody can get exposed to the music.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of finally eliminating the gatekeepers. There's a few left,
Yeah.
but they don't mean anything anymore.
No, they don't.
And I think you're going to have a huge crowd here at Welcome to Rockville.
Well, that's what we're looking for.
Exactly. So what can we expect from a live show from you?
From a live show, really, it's all about energy. Just physical energy, getting up there, encouraging people to dance, dancing ourselves, and just enjoying the power of the music and enjoying dancing, really, being on the dance floor.
Yeah. So when did this happen that you, got this itch to do music?
Growing up, in high school, we were all skateboarders. And so there was always sort of a connection between energy and physicality and music. And there was a certain music scene that went along with that. And then I think, just as any teenagers do, you start graduating into getting interested in buying records, buying clothes, being part of a scene. And after a while, it wasn't enough for us to just be passive consumers of it. We wanted to create it and sort of take the energy that we'd grown up with and put it into a musical context. So, right around our we were maybe 16, 17 years old when we first started getting the itch to actually play.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how did it kind of start out?
We started out with one little synthesizer called an SH-101, a keyboard amp, half a drum kit and a microphone.
Half a drum kit. I
half
love
a drum
that.
kit, yeah. We couldn't play a full drum kit sitting down, so we stood up and played a stand-up kit. Yeah, like I say, it was very much like a punk rock approach to it. It was very garage and quite rough and ready, and that's how we liked it.
I love it. I love it. And how do people connect to you guys on your socials, on the web, get all your merch, check out all your tour dates, all that good stuff? We've
got on Instagram, we are Nitzer. It's just as simple as that. Instagram, we have a webpage, nitzereb.com, I believe. nitzerebproduct.com. Yeah, so, all the usual social channels, just look for Nitzer. You'll find the official stuff.
When you're 80 years old, one story, good or bad, you'll share about this whole musical experience, what would that be?
Well, now you're asking, and some of them you can't really say.
I know, right?
But we were lucky enough to tour with Depeche Mode on their Violator tour, and pretty much any one of those nights, just being part of that scene and that time, you were very aware that history was being made and something magical was happening. And on that tour, we happened to meet Tony Hawk, who became a good friend of ours, and he invited us down to his house for a weekend to go surf and go skate. So that was kind of like a bucket list moment of hanging out for a whole weekend with Tony Hawk. And Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I
it
love
was.
that.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you something funny also about the Speedway here.
Yeah.
So I live in South Florida, so I drive up here.
Yeah.
Last year, I have it with me again this year too. I went to Christine, who runs the media here. I'm like, I have my skateboard in my Jeep, and do you think I'll lose my media pass if I go skate the Speedway?
Right.
She's like, yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Oh,
I'm
that's a
like,
shame.
I'm like, okay, but then I brought it again this year. I'm like, maybe I'll just like do it on the last day.
I was going to say, wait until we've done our set, and I'll come and do it with you. And if we get kicked out,
Right?
fair enough.
Exactly.
We're done anyway,
Did you
so.
see that wall though?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
what you see on TV, it doesn't look like that at all.
No.
I said to my friend this morning, I'm like, you know what? I'll probably break my arm, but it'll be worth it.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to share with the listeners we haven't covered already that they need to know about what's going on with you now and coming up?
No, I mean, just that we're happy to be here. We've had a few sort of personnel shake-ups in the last thing, so this is why Daniel has come in to help us perform. So,
Nice.
So yeah, it shows a little bit different from traditional, but we've been doing a bunch of them around the US and around Europe now, and it's going over well, and we're enjoying it. The crowd's enjoying it. So yeah, I would just say come along and have a good time, really.
You're taking over the U.S. by storm, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, you are the talk of Rockville, so glad you're here.
All right,
and
man.
Thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thanks for having us. Hello, I'm Bon Harris.
I'm Daniel Meyer.
And we are Nitzer, and you're listening to the Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.